What's good, fight fans? This is D, and I'm back with another video with the Standing 8 Count Fighting channel. I'm gonna hopefully do this video on one take because I hate having to start over and re-recording. But I just want to give my take and actually a breakdown of the status of the light heavyweight division ever since Andre Ward decided to retire a few months ago. As it stands now, I thought that it would be like a long delay in kind of getting things sorted out regarding what will happen with the titles once he relinquished them all. But as it stands now, all the belts that Andre Ward acquired in beating Sergey Kovalev have basically been distributed and have owners. The first thing I wanted to talk about is, of course, Adonis Stevenson. He's been the WBC light heavyweight champion for a few years now. I think he's defended the title about 8 times. He hasn't fought anybody really noteworthy or any real top competition. Again, in the past, he was in talks to fight Sergey Kovalev, but there was a lot of shuffling that went on regarding him leaving HBO and going to Showtime. And of course, with Sergey Kovalev being on Showtime, it kind of threw a monkey wrench in the plan of them, of course, unifying and having a defining title fight between each other. But in the absence of that fight not happening, of course, as we all know, Andre Ward, he moved up in weight, fought 2 or 3 guys, and then challenged Sergey Kovalev and defeated him twice and took his belt. So now, before then, the talks between Sergey and Adonis had kind of settled down, but it was still a fight that a lot of fight fans were looking forward to. But right now, Adonis Stevenson, I believe, he's been in talks to potentially fight Badu Jack. As it stands, I don't know where those talks have, led them to now. I don't know if there's a contract on the table. I don't know what's going on because the talks between those 2 fighters have kind of died down. So where that stands now, we don't know. Another player in the WBC mix is the WBC silver champion, Alida Alvarez. I believe he's been Adonis Stevenson's mandatory for almost 3 years now. And what's been happening is Adonis Stevenson has been paying his step-aside money to fight other challengers. Again, the problem with that whole situation is he's paying the guy step-aside money and fighting lesser competition. Again, Alida Alvarez is the WBC silver champion, so if he does get a chance to fight Adonis Stevenson, you can kind of sort of call it a unification fight, similar to the fight between Gennady Golovkin and I forgot his name, but the other guy who I believe was like the interim or also the WBA silver champion. So yeah, with that said, Alida Alvarez, he's due a fight. I don't know what Adonis Stevenson is doing with the title. He hasn't really been holding up the division, but he's not doing anything to solidify his status as the man at 175 pounds. Again, before Andre Ward came in and defeated Sergey Kovalev, most people thought that Sergey Kovalev was the best light heavyweight in the division, and Adonis Stevenson was regulated to number 2. So again, I don't know what's going on with Adonis. Alida Alvarez is still his mandatory. Alvarez, I believe, defeated Jean Pascal in June. When he fought Jean Pascal and he won a majority decision. I thought he should have won it unanimously, but it is what it is. He still got the victory, still undefeated, and still waiting on his shot at the WBC lineal title. The next thing I want to talk about is the up-and-coming fighter Artur Beterbiev. He fought a guy, Enrico Coiling, I believe, earlier this month, and it was for the vacant IBF title. He did in fact win that title and defeat him by 12th round knockout. So he is not an IBF champion. Again, it's a title that Andre Ward did relinquish during once he retired from the division or from boxing in general. Artur Beterbiev, I believe he's 12-0 with 12 knockouts. He looked impressive. I believe he defeated Sergey Kovalev twice in the amateurs. Again, I believe in a past interview that I saw with Sergey, he kind of disputed those losses to Beterbiev. But again, it's only amateur boxing. He shouldn't really care too much. But again, he's a prideful guy. So when people ask him questions and bring it up, he felt the need to defend it and pretty much say that he didn't think he lost those fights. But again, amateur record doesn't really count when it comes to professional ranks. And that stands now. Again, Artur Beterbiev is now the IBF champion. I don't know what's next for him. I don't know who his mandatory is. I'm sure he's going to have a little bit of time, even though the IBF is a strict organization. He's probably going to have a little bit of time to kind of maybe take a rest or maybe fight a voluntary challenger, and then in fact take on his mandatory, who is yet to be named. I haven't checked the rankings at all, so I don't know who's the next guy in line. So after that, the next thing I want to talk about is the recent fight that happened last night between Sergey Kovalev and Shabransky. Both of those guys are coming off losses. In the case of Sergey Kovalev, of course, he lost back-to-back fights to Andre Ward. First by unanimous decision, second one by TKO. Shabransky, he was coming off a loss as well. In my opinion, I don't think they did. Well, the fight again, this fight was for the WBO title that Andre Ward relinquished. And again, I just have an issue with them both being able to fight for a title when they're both coming off losses, both by knockout. So the fact that now, after the fight concluded and Sergey Kovalev beat Shabransky by second round knockout, he's now the WBO champion again, a belt he just lost 2 fights ago. So again, it just seems odd to me that he was able to him and his team were able to make a fight that, was going to be a regular 12-round fight and make it into a title fight, even though he was coming off losses. Against Shabransky, he was thoroughly defeated in his last fight. So I'm not sure why he was given a chance to win a title, but again, the powers that be in politics, they were able to make it happen. So right now, the WBO title that was vacant is now held by Sergey Kovalev. What his next move is, I don't know. Again, I'm hoping that he's going to call out maybe another champion, and instead of finding maybe a lower level guy, I don't know who the number 1 ranked person is in the WBO who might in fact be mandatory, but hopefully we don't see that fight again. I don't know who it is, but I'd rather see Sergey Kovalev, try to unify the division like he once did, and hopefully get a fight with Adonis Stevenson, because when it comes to the light heavyweights, he's probably the cream of the crop. He has the most experience. He's fought the better guys. He reigned as champion for a good while. I mean, not as long as Adonis, but again, Adonis hasn't really done anything to solidify himself as the guy in the division. So, with that said, the next guy I wanted to talk about is the WBA champion, Dmitry Bivol, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's from Russia. He's 12-0. He at one point I think was the interim WBA champion, but again, once Andre Ward relinquished the title, he became the super champion, so to speak. So now he's the super champion. His last fight was against a guy named Trent Broadhurst. I believe he knocked the guy out in the first round within 3 minutes. So he retained the title. He had a pretty stellar amateur career. I think he was 268 wins, 15 losses. He's a pretty good guy, powerful guy. I think he has 10 knockouts in his 12 victories. Pretty impressive guy. I believe during his last fight, one of the commentators had stated that he seems like he's more powerful than Sergey Kovalev. I mean, I can't confirm or deny that. I only seen one of his fights. And I did see highlights of other fights. He's a pretty skilled guy, but I think in the matchup right now against Sergey Kovalev, he would get knocked out somewhere between 7 to 8 rounds, in my opinion. But again, he's another player in the division. He's a champion, and we'll see what he does in his next fight. I don't know who his mandatory is, but he just looks like a guy who's going to play a major role in what's going to happen with the light heavyweight division. The next person I want to talk about is Sullivan Barrera. Sullivan Barrera, after his loss to Andre Ward, he's been on a tear. He's beaten a lot of good guys. He's beaten Joe Smith Jr., Paul Parker. He gave Shabransky his first loss. He knocked him out in the 7th round of their fight, I think that took place last year, December. Joe Smith Jr., he won a unanimous decision against. And last night, he fought against Felix Valera. He won that fight by unanimous decision. So he is a guy who, of course, should be in the upper echelon of the light heavyweight division. I'm surprised that when it came down to a WBO title fight, that he didn't get a shot at it against any other contender, whether it would have been Kovalev or someone else, because again, he beat Shabransky, gave him his his first loss, and the fact that Shabransky was able to fight for a WBO title before Sullivan Barrera makes no sense to me at all. He was, I believe, before Andre Ward defeated Sullivan Barrera, he was Sergey Kovalev's mandatory challenger. So right now, I believe in a perfect world, Sullivan Barrera should in fact be champion. But again, politics, they kind of put a roadblock in his career. Again, he's winning, he's fighting good guys, he's a top contender, but he should have fought for a title by now. Again, people undeserving are getting title shots, such as Artur Beterbiev. I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but he shouldn't have been able to get that title shot before a guy like Barrera, and neither should Shabransky, especially considering Barrera beat Shabransky. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens with Barrera. He just again fought last night and knocked out Felix Valera. Not knocked out, winning out a decision. One thing about Sullivan is that he's prone to knockdowns. He was knocked down against Ward, Joseph Jr., Valera. So he's chinny, but he's not chinny in the sense that he goes out of court because he's never been knocked out. But he gets knocked down early in a lot of his fights, but he's able to overcome and win. So again, he's a good player in the division. I'm looking forward to his next fight. Hopefully it's a title shot. I believe he's still highly ranked in the I'm going to say the WBA, I believe, or the WBO, one of those divisions. He's highly ranked, so he should get a title shot pretty soon, especially with him winning as much as he had since his only loss to Andre Ward. Next thing I want to talk about is some younger guys who are making a little bit of noise in the division. One guy, he's a British fighter, Anthony Yard. He's been showing some pretty good skills coming up in the ranks. I believe he's number 5 in WBO. His next fight is against a guy named Nikola Jelaka, I believe. His fight is going to take place in England on December 9th. Again, he's been looking pretty good. The fights I've seen 2 fights of his, well, 2 live fights of his, and the rest I've seen are just highlights. He looks like a pretty dedicated guy. He trains a lot. His skills are getting better each fight. He's a powerful guy. Throws pretty good body shots as well. So he's probably going to be a major player in the division in the future. Right now, I mean, they're taking their time with him. I don't think they should throw him in a big fight yet. Maybe in his 19th or 20th fight, he may get a title shot. Again, right now he's number 5 in the WBO division. The WBO ranking. So again, the title holder right now for that division is Sergey Kovalev. He could in fact be ready in a few more fights, but I wouldn't rush it. Again, you don't want to ruin him before he kind of develop and get the experience needed to beat a guy like Sergey, or if it may be Sergey who has the experience over him as well. So we'll see what happens with Anthony Yard, but he's a great player in the division. I look forward to seeing his next fight, and he should be a force for years to come. The last guy I'm going to discuss is Alexander Vostok. He's a Ukrainian boxer. I believe he was a bronze medalist in the 2012 Olympics. He's been showing pretty good skills in the fights that I've watched him in. I mean, again, he has that Ukraine training. I don't know. I believe he trains with Vasily Lomachenko. I'm not sure. But he's been looking good as of late. He has good footwork. He throws good combinations. He's a pretty powerful guy. He's another good player in the division. I can envision him, in the future fighting Anthony Yard or Artur Beterbiev or Dmitry Bivol for a title. He's a skilled guy. I don't know who his next fight's going to be against, but he should make a lot of noise in the future when it comes to the light heavyweight division. Because again, when it comes to people like Adonis and even Sergey, we don't know what their next moves are going to be. If they're considered the 2 top guys out of everybody I listed or talked about. So we'll see. Again, Badu Jack, he just moved up to the division. He won a title in his first fight, relinquished it. Most people thought he relinquished that title to get a fight with Adonis Stevenson, but again, we haven't heard any details or anything new regarding the status of that fight being made. So again, that's my take on the light heavyweight division. We have some pretty good names that are contenders and players ever since Andre Ward decided to retire. So let me know what you think. Who do you think out of these top guys are going to come out on top and hopefully get one undisputed champion? If I had to pick a guy, as it stands right now, I would put money on Artur Beterbiev, but that's just me right now. Again, he hasn't had enough fights for me to really solidify that pick, but he's been looking pretty good leading up to the time he won the IBF title. So again, let me know what you think. This is D with the Standing Account Fighting channel. Please like, favorite, share this video, and subscribe. Again, you guys have a good week.